Your soulmate just made a silent promise. And it has your name written all over it. Don't scroll, listen to this because this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. If these words have found you today, take a quiet moment and receive them with an open heart. My beloved child, somewhere at this very moment, a decision has been made that no one else knows about. No announcement was made. No message was sent. No one applauded. Yet in the silence of one ordinary evening, your soulmate whispered a promise that changed everything inside their heart. They did not make this promise because someone asked them to. They made it because after everything they have experienced, after every lesson, every disappointment, and every unanswered question, they finally understood what truly matters. Listen to this because this message is for you. There comes a moment when the heart grows tired of confusion and begins longing only for what is real. Your soulmate has reached that moment, and the promise they quietly made carries your name in ways they never expected. My beloved child, for a long time they tried convincing themselves they had moved on from the emotions they carried for you. They filled their days with responsibilities, distractions, and conversations that kept their mind busy, but every quiet evening somehow led their thoughts back to you. Every peaceful sunset reminded them of conversations that once brought comfort. Every small act of kindness they witnessed reminded them of the gentle way you cared for people without expecting recognition. They tried to explain these memories away, yet the more they resisted them, the stronger they became. Slowly they realized these memories were not returning to disturb their peace. They were returning to reveal the truth they had been avoiding. Listen to this because this message is for you. My beloved child, some people leave your mind with time, but the ones who truly touch your soul remain quietly alive inside your heart. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now because one quiet night your soulmate found themselves sitting alone beneath the stars. There was no music playing, no one calling their name, no distractions left to silence their thoughts. They simply looked toward the sky and allowed their heart to speak honestly for the first time in a long while. They remembered your patience during difficult conversations. They remembered the encouragement you offered when they doubted themselves. They remembered how naturally you believed in them during seasons when they struggled to believe in themselves. Suddenly they whispered something they had never said aloud before. If life ever gives me another chance to love someone with a heart like theirs, I will never take it for granted again. My beloved child, that simple sentence became the beginning of a promise they never planned to make. Listen to this because this message is for you. They closed their eyes and quietly continued speaking from the deepest place within their soul. They promised that fear would no longer make their decisions. They promised they would no longer allow pride to delay honest conversations. They promised they would appreciate kindness while it was still present instead of waiting until it became a memory. Most importantly, they promised that if they were ever blessed with another opportunity connected to the heart that had changed them, they would protect it with honesty, respect, patience, and gratitude. My beloved child, no one else heard those words, but they carried more sincerity than any public declaration ever could. Perhaps recently you have continued noticing repeating numbers like 111, 222, 333, or 444 during moments when your heart has been searching for reassurance. My beloved child, receive those moments as gentle reminders to continue growing in peace, wisdom, and integrity. Continue choosing kindness even when life feels uncertain. Continue protecting the light I have placed within your heart. Character built in quiet seasons becomes the strongest foundation for every meaningful relationship. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now, because after making that silent promise, something inside your soulmate completely changed. They no longer looked at the past with anger. They no longer replayed old mistakes searching for someone to blame. Instead, they began asking themselves how they could become a better person moving forward. They understood that promises have little value unless they are supported by genuine transformation. Every ordinary day became another opportunity to become more patient, more honest, and more grateful. They realized that the promise carrying your name was not simply about words. It was about becoming someone worthy of keeping those words. My beloved child, while your soulmate has been making this quiet commitment, I have also been watching your own journey. There were moments when you wondered whether your kindness had been forgotten. You questioned whether your love had truly made a difference. You searched your memories asking if anyone would ever recognize the quiet ways you cared so deeply. Hear me clearly today. Nothing offered through genuine love has ever disappeared. Every unseen act of compassion, every prayer whispered through disappointment, and every decision to remain gentle instead of bitter has continued shaping your spirit into someone remarkably strong. Listen to this, because this message is for you. As the night came to an end, your soulmate looked toward the stars one final time and whispered another sentence that no one else was ever meant to hear. The next time our paths cross, I want my actions to speak louder than my regrets. Those words became the final part of the promise they made in complete silence. They understood that real change is not proven through dramatic speeches but through consistent character, patient choices, and honest intentions. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now, because this story has only begun. The silent promise has been made, but there is one extraordinary reason your name became part of that promise that your soulmate has not yet fully understood. Very soon they will discover a hidden truth about something you quietly did long ago, something they never noticed at the time. When that forgotten act of kindness finally comes back into the light, they will realize that the promise they made beneath the stars was not created by coincidence. It was inspired by a love that had been shaping their heart all along. And when that realization finally reaches them, my beloved child, everything they believed about your connection will begin changing in ways they never imagined possible. Don't scroll, listen to this, because this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. If these words continue speaking to your soul, stay with me, because what happened after your soulmate made that silent promise changed everything inside their heart. My beloved child, that promise was not forgotten the next morning. It did not disappear with the sunrise or become another emotional moment that slowly faded away. Instead, it became the first thought they carried when they opened their eyes. Before checking their phone, before beginning the responsibilities of the day, before speaking to anyone else, they quietly remembered the words they had whispered beneath the stars the night before. They placed a hand over their heart and silently repeated the promise one more time. I will never again take genuine love for granted. I will never allow fear to become louder than honesty. If life places that extraordinary soul in my path again, I will protect what I once failed to understand. Listen to this, because this message is for you. My beloved child, promises made from the deepest part of the heart do not disappear overnight. They begin transforming the person who made them. As the morning continued, something unusual began happening. Ordinary moments suddenly reminded your soulmate of you in ways they had never expected. A familiar song played quietly in the background of a coffee shop, and they remembered the way you smiled whenever life became stressful. Someone offered kindness to a stranger, and they remembered how naturally you always chose compassion without expecting recognition. They watched the sunrise break through the clouds and suddenly remembered one conversation where you told them that hope often arrives quietly, long before anyone notices it. My beloved child, they realized your influence had remained alive inside their heart far longer than they had ever admitted. They once believed memories faded with time, but now they understood that some people leave fingerprints upon the soul that time itself cannot erase. Listen to this because this message is for you. There are connections that continue teaching us long after the conversation has ended, and your presence has become one of those lessons inside their life. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now because later that afternoon your soulmate unexpectedly met someone who knew both of you. The conversation began with simple questions about life, work, and the passing of time. Then your name entered the discussion. The person smiled warmly before quietly saying, "You know, they always believed the best about you, even during moments when you doubted yourself." Those words immediately stopped your soulmate. They remained silent because they remembered how often you encouraged them while asking for nothing in return. The conversation continued, and another sentence followed that completely changed everything. They never wanted credit for helping you become stronger. They were simply grateful to see you growing. My beloved child, tears quietly formed in your soulmate's eyes because they suddenly understood something they had never recognized before. Many of the strengths they now carried had quietly been nurtured by your encouragement long before they learned to believe in themselves. Listen to this because this message is for you. Sometimes the greatest gift one soul gives another is confidence, and its value is often understood only years later. As they walked away, they found a quiet place to sit alone. They replayed every memory connected to you with completely different eyes. They remembered how patiently you listened during difficult conversations. They remembered how gently you corrected them without making them feel ashamed. They remembered how often you reminded them that mistakes did not define their future. Suddenly they whispered your name before saying softly, "They were helping me become someone better while I thought they were simply being kind." My beloved child, true love does not always announce itself with dramatic words. Often it quietly shapes another person's character one ordinary day at a time. Perhaps recently you have continued noticing repeating numbers like 111, 222, 333, 444, or 777 appearing during moments when your heart has been searching for reassurance. My beloved child, allow those moments to gently remind you to continue becoming the person I created you to be. Continue choosing honesty when fear offers easier paths. Continue choosing compassion when disappointment tries to harden your heart. Every act of genuine kindness continues creating ripples far beyond what your eyes can presently see. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because your soulmate's silent promise began changing more than their memories. It began changing their daily decisions. They noticed themselves becoming more patient with people. They apologized more quickly when they made mistakes. They listened more carefully instead of rushing to respond. They became grateful for ordinary moments instead of constantly searching for something bigger. Slowly they realized that your influence had become part of the person they were becoming. The promise carrying your name was no longer simply about you. It had become a commitment to live differently. Listen to this because this message is for you. My beloved child, the most meaningful promises are the ones that quietly transform character long before they transform circumstances. As evening settled across the sky, your soulmate opened an old notebook they had not touched for months. Inside were scattered thoughts from different seasons of life. As they turned each page, they noticed something remarkable. Your name appeared again and again beside moments when they had written about hope, growth, gratitude, and courage. They smiled through tears because they realized that even during seasons when they convinced themselves they had moved on, their heart had quietly continued connecting every meaningful lesson back to you. My beloved child, the soul remembers what truly changed it, even when the mind tries to forget. Listen to this because this message is for you. While your soulmate has been living through this awakening, I have also been strengthening your own heart. There were moments when you wondered whether your quiet love had mattered. You questioned whether anyone truly noticed the encouragement you gave so freely. You wondered if the gentle words you offered had simply disappeared into yesterday. Hear me clearly today, my beloved child. Every word spoken with genuine love continues living long after it leaves your lips. Every unseen act of encouragement continues echoing through hearts in ways you may never fully witness. Nothing offered with sincerity is ever wasted. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now because another extraordinary realization is about to enter your soulmate's heart. They believe the silent promise they made beneath the stars was entirely their own decision. But very soon they will discover that someone quietly preserved something you once gave them years ago. A simple reminder of your heart that they thought had disappeared forever. When they unexpectedly find it, they will understand that the promise carrying your name did not begin on the night they whispered those words beneath the sky. It began much earlier, during a moment they failed to appreciate while it was happening. That forgotten memory is about to return, and when it does, my beloved child, your soulmate will finally realize that the promise they made was never only about changing the future. It was also about honoring the extraordinary love, quiet faithfulness, and lasting impact that your heart had already placed upon their life from the very beginning. And that discovery will prepare them for the most emotional chapter of this journey yet. Don't scroll, listen to this because this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. My beloved child, after making that silent promise beneath the stars, your soulmate believed they had already experienced the deepest awakening of their life. They thought nothing could move their heart more than the commitment they had quietly made in the darkness of that peaceful night. But they were about to discover something they never expected. A forgotten piece of your story was waiting to return, and when it did, every word of that silent promise suddenly carried an even greater meaning. Listen to this because this message is for you. My beloved child, there are moments when life quietly places an old memory back into your hands, not to make you live in the past, but to help you finally understand why your heart has never truly forgotten it. One quiet afternoon, while cleaning a drawer they had ignored for years, your soulmate found a small object hidden beneath old papers. It was something simple, something most people would have thrown away without thinking twice, a handwritten note, an old photograph, or a small keepsake connected to a moment the two of you once shared. The moment they picked it up, time seemed to stand still. Their hands trembled as memories came rushing back all at once. They remembered the day you gave it to them. They remembered your smile. They remembered how casually they accepted it, never realizing how much love, thought, and sincerity had been placed into such a small gesture. My beloved child, tears quietly filled their eyes because they finally understood that what looked ordinary at the time had actually been one of the purest expressions of your heart. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now because as they carefully looked at that forgotten reminder, they noticed something they had completely missed years ago. There was a sentence written on it that suddenly spoke directly to their soul. It was simple, gentle, and filled with hope. It reminded them to believe in themselves, to never stop becoming the person they were meant to be, and to remember that genuine love always encourages growth instead of fear. Your soulmate read those words again and again until they could no longer hold back their emotions. They whispered softly, "They believed in me before I ever believed in myself." My beloved child, that realization broke every remaining wall around their heart. They understood that your love had never tried to control them. It had quietly inspired them to become stronger. Listen to this because this message is for you. They sat in complete silence, holding that small reminder close to their heart. Every memory returned with remarkable clarity. They remembered how often you celebrated their smallest achievements. They remembered how you gently encouraged them after difficult days. They remembered that whenever they doubted their future, you somehow found words that gave them hope again. At the time they believed those conversations were ordinary. Today they understand they were extraordinary. They realized your presence had become one of the greatest sources of confidence they had ever known. My beloved child, some people enter your life to change your circumstances, but others quietly change the way you see yourself forever. Perhaps recently you have continued noticing repeating numbers like 111, 222, 333, 444, or even 555 during moments when your heart has been searching for reassurance. My beloved child, let those moments gently remind you that every act of genuine kindness leaves a lasting imprint. Continue encouraging others. Continue speaking words that build hope instead of fear. You may never fully know how deeply your quiet encouragement changes another person's life. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because that forgotten keepsake became much more than an old memory. It became proof that the silent promise your soulmate made beneath the stars had been growing inside them long before they ever realized it. They suddenly understood that every lesson they were learning today had first been planted by seeds you quietly sowed years ago. The patience you showed, the forgiveness you offered, the belief you placed in them, and the unwavering respect you carried had all continued growing inside their heart without them even noticing. Listen to this because this message is for you. My beloved child, love built upon sincerity continues working quietly long after words have ended. As evening slowly arrived, your soulmate opened their notebook once again. This time they were not writing about regret. They were writing about gratitude. They filled page after page with memories of the quiet ways you had changed their life. They wrote about the courage you inspired. They wrote about the peace your presence brought. They wrote about the way you always encouraged them to become a better version of themselves instead of asking them to become someone else. Finally, they stopped writing and whispered through tears, "Everything I promised beneath the stars was inspired by someone who had already been teaching me those lessons all along." My beloved child, those words carried complete honesty. Listen to this because this message is for you. While your soulmate has been discovering these hidden truths, I have also been strengthening your own spirit. There were moments when you wondered whether your quiet love had truly made a difference. You questioned whether your encouragement had simply been forgotten. You wondered if the sacrifices you made had disappeared into the past without leaving any lasting impact. Hear me clearly today, my beloved child. Nothing offered through genuine love is ever lost. Every encouraging word, every patient conversation, every act of kindness continues echoing through lives long after the moment has passed. Even when you cannot see the result immediately, seeds planted with love continue growing beneath the surface. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because another extraordinary realization has entered your soulmate's heart. They now understand that the silent promise carrying your name was never about trying to rewrite yesterday. It was about honoring everything your heart quietly gave them. They no longer wish to become better simply because they regret the past. They want to become better because your example showed them what genuine character truly looks like. They have stopped measuring success by achievements alone. They now measure it by honesty, gratitude, humility, compassion, and the courage to value people while they are still present. As darkness gently covered the sky, your soulmate stepped outside once again beneath the same stars where they first made that quiet promise. They held the forgotten keepsake close to their heart and whispered another prayer. Thank you for allowing me to remember what I almost overlooked. Thank you for showing me that the greatest gift they ever gave me was not something I could hold in my hands. It was the person I have slowly become because they believed in me. Those words brought a deep sense of peace unlike anything they had experienced before. My beloved child, continue protecting the beautiful heart I have placed within you. Continue choosing kindness without expecting immediate recognition. Continue believing in people even when they cannot yet see the best within themselves. Never think your quiet love has been wasted simply because someone appreciated it later than you hoped. The story is not over yet. One final chapter still remains. Very soon your soulmate will uncover one last hidden truth, a promise you quietly made during your own journey, one they never knew existed. When they discover that your heart had also been carrying a silent promise all along, they will realize that both of your journeys have been quietly moving toward the same lesson from the very beginning. And when those two promises finally meet, my beloved child, every unanswered question, every hidden emotion, and every quiet prayer will come together in the most powerful ending this story could ever have. Don't scroll. Listen to this because this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. My beloved child, this is the final chapter of the silent promise that began beneath the stars. Every memory, every lesson, every tear, and every quiet realization has been leading your soulmate to this moment. They believed they had already discovered everything there was to understand about your connection. They believed the promise they made carried all the meaning it ever could. But one final truth remained hidden, and when it finally came into the light, it changed not only the promise, it changed the person who made it. Listen to this because this message is for you. Sometimes the greatest revelation is not discovering that someone loved you. It is discovering how deeply they believed in you, even during the moments when you struggled to believe in yourself. One peaceful afternoon, your soulmate unexpectedly met someone who had been close to you during a season they knew very little about. The conversation was simple at first, filled with ordinary memories and familiar names. Then the person smiled gently and said something your soulmate never expected to hear. There was one promise they made that they never told anyone. Your soulmate immediately became silent. Their heart felt as though it had stopped for just a moment. They quietly asked what that promise had been. The answer came with remarkable calmness. They promised they would never allow disappointment to make them stop believing in love. They promised they would never become bitter because of heartbreak. They wanted to remain the kind person they had always been, no matter what life placed in front of them. My beloved child, those words echoed through your soulmate's heart like a quiet sunrise after a long night. They suddenly realized that while they had been making a silent promise beneath the stars, you had been carrying your own silent promise for much longer. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now because as those words settled inside their spirit, every memory took on a completely new meaning. They remembered moments when you chose understanding instead of anger. They remembered times when you spoke gently even after being disappointed. They remembered how you never tried to damage anyone's reputation, even when you had every reason to defend yourself. At the time they believed that was simply your personality. Now they understood it was the result of a promise you faithfully honored every single day. Listen to this because this message is for you. My beloved child, promises made in private often become the foundation of the character the world admires in public. Your soulmate quietly walked away and found a place where they could be alone. They looked toward the sky and allowed every emotion they had been carrying to rise to the surface. Tears slowly filled their eyes as they whispered, they stayed true to their promise, even when life gave them every reason to break it. They realized that your strength had never come from having an easy life. It came from making a decision about the kind of person you wanted to remain, regardless of what happened around you. My beloved child, genuine character is revealed when circumstances become difficult, not when they are comfortable. Perhaps recently you have continued noticing repeating numbers like 111, 222, 333, 444, or even 777 during moments when your heart has been searching for reassurance. My beloved child, let those moments gently remind you that the greatest victories often happen quietly within the soul. Continue choosing honesty over convenience. Continue choosing forgiveness over resentment. Continue choosing peace over bitterness. Every choice you make today shapes the person you continue becoming tomorrow. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because your soulmate returned home carrying more gratitude than regret. For the first time, they stopped wishing they could rewrite the past. Instead, they thanked me for every lesson they had learned through knowing you. They understood that the promise carrying your name was never simply about hoping for another opportunity. It was about honoring the extraordinary impact your life had already made. They opened their notebook one final time and began writing from the deepest place within their heart. They wrote, I promise to appreciate kindness while it is still beside me. I promise never to confuse quiet love with ordinary love again. I promise to speak gratitude before it becomes regret. I promise to protect honest conversations instead of hiding behind fear. I promise to remember the person who taught me that strength can be gentle, patience can be powerful, and real love asks for respect before recognition. When they finished writing, they smiled through tears because they finally understood something beautiful. The promise carrying your name had become much greater than a memory. It had become the guide for the life they now wanted to live. Listen to this because this message is for you. While your soulmate has been transformed by these quiet awakenings, I have also been walking beside you, my beloved child. There were seasons when you wondered if loving sincerely had accomplished anything. You questioned whether your encouragement had mattered. You wondered whether the quiet sacrifices you made had simply disappeared into yesterday. Hear me clearly today. Nothing given with a sincere heart is ever wasted. Every gentle word, every patient act, every moment you chose compassion instead of pride became part of a story much greater than you could see. Even when people recognized your worth later than you hoped, the goodness you carried never lost its value. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because your soulmate now understands the greatest truth of all. They believed they were making a promise about you, but in reality they were becoming the person your quiet example had always inspired them to become. They no longer define love by excitement alone. They define it through trust, consistency, gratitude, honesty, humility, and unwavering respect. They have learned that the rarest hearts are often the quietest ones, and that genuine love is built through everyday choices far more than dramatic moments. As the stars filled the night sky one final time, your soulmate looked upward and whispered one last prayer. Thank you for placing this remarkable soul in my life. Whether our paths cross again or remain separate, I will never forget the lessons their heart taught mine. I will carry those lessons with gratitude for the rest of my life. Peace quietly settled over them because they no longer carried only regret. They carried wisdom. They carried hope. They carried transformation. My beloved child, this story reaches its ending with two promises joined together. One promise was made by you, to never let pain change the goodness within your heart. The other promise was made by your soulmate, to never again overlook the value of genuine love. Those promises may have been spoken in different places, at different times, beneath different skies, but they were both born from the same desire, to become better, kinder, wiser, and more faithful than before. Carry this final lesson with you. Never stop believing in the quiet power of a sincere heart. Never stop choosing integrity when shortcuts appear easier. Never stop offering kindness because someone else failed to appreciate it. Your worth has never depended on how quickly another person recognized your value. It has always been found in the love, compassion, humility, and strength you continue to carry through every season. And that, my beloved child, is the true ending of this journey. The silent promise was never only about a soulmate. It was about two hearts learning that the greatest love is not measured by perfect timing, but by the lasting transformation it leaves behind. When love teaches you to become a better person, its greatest promise has already been fulfilled.